Welcome back to English Made Interesting. Today we learn about active and passive voice. Voice refers to the form of the verb which shows whether the subject does something or something is done to it. Example, Ram wrote the book. Now look at the second sentence. The book was written by Ram. So here in the first sentence, Ram is the doer of action. Ram wrote the book. So it is in active voice. Second sentence, the book was written by Ram. The book, which is the subject, is not doing the action. It is being acted upon by someone, that is Ram. The book was written by Ram. So it is said to be in passive voice. Whereas in the first sentence, Ram wrote the book, Ram is the subject and the subject is the doer of action. That is why it is in active voice. In the first sentence, Ram is the subject and Ram is the doer of action. Hope it is clear. The verb wrote is said to be in the active voice. It means that the verb is said to be in active voice when the subject does the action. Here, Ram, the subject, does the action. In the second sentence, something is done to the book. That is, the subject, which is the book, is not the doer of action, but it is the receiver. The verb form was written is in the passive voice. A verb is said to be in the passive voice when the subject is the receiver of action and the action is done by somebody or something else. Now there are certain rules to change active to passive voice. Rule 1, it says when changing an active voice into a passive voice, the object of the active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. Now let us see how. So same sentence, Ram wrote the book. Here I told you earlier, Ram is the subject, the book is the object. Now when you change from active voice to passive voice, the object becomes the subject here. The book, which was the object, is now the subject. The book was written by Ram and that becomes the object or agent, which means that the subject and object get interchanged. It is a verb which you change into passive form. The tense of the verb remains the same in both active and passive form. There is no change. It is in the past tense. So both the sentences, the verb is in the past tense form. Wrote, that is also past tense. Was written is again past tense. Now look at few more examples. The man cut the tree. It is in active voice. The verb is in active voice because the subject is a doer of action. The tree was cut by the man. It is in passive form. In olden days, the kings used to rule over countries. It is in active form. In olden days, countries were ruled over by the kings. It is in the passive form. My mother cooks the food. It's in the active form. The food is cooked by my mother. It is in the passive form. Our teacher will take us to the lab. It is in the active form. We will be taken to the lab by our teacher. This is in the passive form. He read the book. Active form, the book was read by him, which is in the passive form. Hope it is very clear. When you change an active sentence into a passive sentence, we add by before the object or agent in the passive sentence. It is changed by the introduction of by. Example, Tom made this painting. It is in the active form. This painting was made by Tom. It becomes the passive form. But when it is very evident who the agent is, you can drop the agent. Example, you should return the book tomorrow. It is the active sentence. The book should be returned tomorrow. In this case, you can drop by you because it's understood. So you don't have to mention that. So the book should be returned tomorrow. Here you can very well avoid by you because it is understood. Rule 2. Only transitive verbs can be changed to passive form because the intransitive verbs do not have an object. Example, Tim goes to the market. Kate lives in Delhi. The play was funny. So here it does not have an object. So here you just cannot change the sentences to passive form. In the above sentences, the verbs goes, lives and was, which is form of be, do not have an object and are intransitive verbs. So it cannot be changed into passive form. Now look at the following examples. Kavita threw the ball. My mother made some pineapple jam. Here the verbs threw and made have ball and pineapple jam as objects. These verbs are transitive verbs and can be changed into the passive form. Now how do you change it? The object becomes a subject. So Kavita threw the ball. When you change it into passive form, it is written as the ball was thrown by Kavita. Second sentence, some pineapple jam was made by my mother. Hope it's clear. Now over to the third rule. If a transitive verb has two objects, either of them can be made the subject in the passive voice and the other one remains unchanged. Example, my friend gave some sweets to me. This is the active form. Some sweets were given to me by my friend. It is a passive form. It can also be written as I was given some sweets by my friend. So out of the two objects, either of them can be made the subject in the passive voice. So one place the subject is some sweets. Sweets were given. Then I was given. So the person becomes a subject. Now another example. The soldiers gave some water to me. It is in the active form. I was given some water by the soldiers. It is the passive form. It can also be written as some water was given to me by the soldiers. Mrs. Dev teaches us grammar. It is in the active form. When you make it passive, grammar is taught to us by Mrs. Dev, or you can write it as we are taught grammar by Mrs. Dev. You'll have to be careful about the tense because both the sentence will be in the Same tense. Grammar is taught. Present tense. We are taught grammar. Again, that is also present tense. Now over to rule 4. In the passive voice, the verb is changed according to the subject in number and person. Example, I broke this toy. It is singular and it is the active form. When you make it passive, this toy, which is singular subject, was broken by me. Here was broken, it is again singular verb. Now look at the next sentence. I broke these toys. It is the active form, and when you change it, these toys, here the subject is plural, were broken. The verb is plural. These toys were broken by me. Now, rule 5. When a verb is changed from active to passive, the tense of the verb remains the same. Now, example, present tense. The simple present tense, the verb form is the simple present tense. The verb forms is am and are can be used before the past participle. Example, rich people buy diamonds. Diamonds are bought by rich people. Rich people buy gold. Gold is bought by rich people. The present continuous tense. The verb forms is being, am being and are being are used along with the past participle. Example, Riya is eating a mango. A mango is being eaten by Riya. So both the sentences are in the present continuous tense form. The present perfect tense. The verb forms has or have been are used before the past participle. Example, Riya has eaten a mango. It is in the active voice form. A mango has been eaten by Riya. It is in the passive form. But both are in the present perfect tense. Now over to the past tense. The simple past tense. The verbs was and were are used before the past participle. Example, Riya ate the mangoes. It is in the active form. The mangoes were eaten by Riya. It is in the passive form. The past continuous tense. The verb forms was being or were being are used before the past participle of the verb. Example, Riya was eating mangoes. Mangoes were being eaten by Riya. It is past continuous tense form. Riya was eating, it is past continuous. Mangoes were being eaten, it is again past continuous form. The past perfect tense. The verb form had been is used before the past participle of the verb. Example, Riya had eaten the mangoes. It is the active form. When you change it into passive form, the mangoes had been eaten by Riya. We generally express actions in the active voice form. We prefer to use passive voice when we do not know who has done the action. Example, My handbag was stolen at the fair. We do not know who stole the bag. So in that case, we use passive form. The cyclist was hit by a racing truck. It is not clear which truck hit the cyclist. So that is when we prefer to use passive voice, because we do not know who has done the action. But otherwise, generally, we express actions in the active voice. Now look at few more examples. Rita cut the cake. It is in the active voice because the subject is doing the action. Subject is the doer of action. Who cut the cake? Rita cut the cake. Now, next sentence. The cake was cut by Rita. It is in the passive form. It was eaten by the children. Again, it is in the passive form. The children ate the cake. So, the subject, the children, ate the cake. It is in the active voice form. A song was sung by them. It is in the passive voice. They sang a song. It is in the active voice form. Hope it's clear. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe.